back to Alabama's Morning News. My name is John Mounts. I'm sitting in for JT today, and gun control measures have been on the ballot in one way or another for quite some time, and there's a lot of questions as to if they're going to affect the midterm voting. We're going to the Chief of Staff at Young Americans for Liberty, Sean Themea. Sean, welcome to the show.
Hey, great to be here, John. Thanks for having me.
Sure. So what do these measures look like, and how are they going to affect the ballots this fall?
Sure. So the measures are nothing but an attempt to mobilize Democrat voters. They're not going to make an impact because we already know gun control doesn't make an impact. If criminals want to get their hands on guns, they will. New York had massive ammunition restrictions, still does. The shooter went to Buffalo because of those restrictions. Uvalde shooter, there's no guns allowed in schools, so he knew it would be a soft target. We already have gun control in many places in the country, and we already see it failing and people being hurt because of it. And as for if it will affect the elections, the Democrats would love to make this an election about guns because it's the only thing they can do to actually mobilize their voters right now. The reality is this is a gas and groceries election. I mean, it costs $100 to fill up your tank some parts of the country. A full cart of groceries last year is half a cart of groceries this year. If the Democrats run on anything besides tragedy and taking advantage of people dying, they're going to get smoked.
It does seem like they take every opportunity they can to go with whatever gives them the most political advantage as opposed to what is best for the country. So in this case, they're saying, okay, there's been a shooting, so we're going to blame the guns. They have a playbook, and they pull out the playbook, and they turn it to okay, guns, what do we have here? And they say the same things. They use phrases like common sense gun reforms, because common sense, everyone likes common sense, but what does that really mean? Nobody knows what common sense really means. And in their minds, common sense means taking all the guns away from everyone. In most people's minds, it means don't give crazy people guns, but for some reason we don't ever look at the details on this. We just go, yeah, common sense, that makes sense, and it really doesn't make sense, and it doesn't help America.
Exactly. Anytime you ever hear a D.C. politician say common sense laws, it means that you're not going to be in a good spot once these laws pass. Same thing with bipartisan. George Carlin, the great comedian, used to say, whenever they talk about bipartisanship, it means there's some larger than usual deception taking place. And the Democrats are fully responsible for a lot of this, but we can't let some of these Republicans off the hook either. You've got these traitors like John Cornyn who are going out there and trying to deceive us and say, oh, this bill will protect the Second Amendment. It's okay. But then he puts in all this funding for red flag laws, right? These are the same red flag laws where any Karen can go and call the police, complain about your guns, and then the police can come in, kick down your door, take your gun. And there have been several instances where these red flag laws have resulted in nonviolent gun owners dying. I mean, that is not protecting the Second Amendment, Senator. So Republicans have blood on their hands in this as well, as much as I hate to say it.
And John Cornyn is one of those ones who, when it's election time, he will be big John Cornyn, and he'll be all conservative, and he'll proudly stand there with his American flag lapel pin and so on and so forth. He looks like a good Republican, but then when you actually watch the way he votes and the way he behaves, especially when he's not up for election, it's very different from the image he tries to portray to the people of Texas.
100%. And I'm calling in from Austin, Texas today, and I can tell you the grassroots in Texas is not fooled one bit. And that is the one silver lining of Republicans going bad across the country this year is we see more than ever a challenge to these rhinos in these contested primaries and forecasting more contested primaries in the future. So will this have an impact on the election? I think you might get some more Democrats to come out because, now they have something to actually latch onto because Biden and the Democrats in office in D.C. are doing nothing to help this country. I mean, we're paying for it at the pump, we're paying for it at the grocery store. But I do think you're going to see even more Republicans come out and vote in favor of actual Republicans who will protect our liberty and try and get these rhinos out of office. So hopefully that will all balance out.
Sean Themea, thank you so much for joining us from Young Americans for Liberty, and let's hope you're right about that. I know that I'm hoping not only will we get Republicans out there, I hope we get I hope we get some Democrats out there who go, we need some common sense people in office, and that might mean putting in some Republicans. Let's hope. It is 7:27 at Alabama's Morning News.